We start with Iris, just a regular girl in a supermarket. She's grabbing groceries, nothing too special, but then she locks eyes with Josh, a guy standing nearby. They share this awkward, but sweet smile. You know, one of those moments where you just feel the chemistry. But before they can say much, Josh knocks over a whole stack of oranges. Classic accident. He tries to catch one, but it falls, and Iris laughs. Josh laughs too. They talk for a minute, and we get their names, Josh and Iris. Cut to a little later. Josh and Iris are in the car driving through the countryside. Iris is taking a nap in the passenger seat. When she wakes up, she talks about a beautiful dream she had, and Josh jokes, asking if she dreamed about him. She laughs and says, "Yeah, you were in it." They laugh it off, and it's sweet. They start reminiscing about their first meeting in the supermarket. Josh remembers every detail about the orange incident, which might seem a little too perfect. So, Josh and Iris finally reach their destination, a huge house, not the small cabin Josh described. The place is in the middle of nowhere, and Iris is starting to feel a little uneasy. She's nervous about this whole thing, but Josh reassures her that everything's fine and that she should just enjoy the time there. They head inside. They meet Kate, who opens the door with a forced smile. It's clear right away Kate doesn't really like Iris. Kate takes them inside and there Josh meets Patrick, Patrick's boyfriend Eli, and Kat's wealthy boyfriend Sergey, who owns the lake. Iris feels a little nervous around them because Kate is somewhat rude to her. Sergey offers Josh and Iris a drink, but she politely declines and asks for a room to take a shower. As the night goes on, everyone gathers around for dinner. Josh, Iris, and the others start sharing stories about how they met their partners. Josh's story is pretty funny. He was at a party once, feeling awkward, when a guy dressed as a green dinosaur tapped him on the shoulder. He was standing on the dinosaur's tail, but when Josh moved, the dinosaur took off his head, revealing that it was Iris underneath. Iris also talks about meeting Josh at the supermarket and how they developed a deep love for each other. Later, Iris and Kate have a conversation where Kate explains why she dates and married men. She admits that she enjoys Sergey's luxurious lifestyle, his cars, and the way he treats her. Later, the group drinks and dances together. While dancing, Iris notices Josh with Kate and feels jealous. She quickly pulls him away and dances with him instead. After the dance, they make out and then go to sleep. The next day, Iris and Josh wake up. Iris suggests going to the lake, but Josh says he needs to take a shower first. So Iris decides to head to the lake by herself while Josh stays back. But she's not alone for long. Sergey, one of Josh's friends, shows up and asks her to help him put sunscreen on his back. Feeling uneasy, she hesitantly applies the lotion, giving him a light massage. However, Sergey suddenly grabs her and things take a very dark turn. Sergey gets aggressive and tries to assault Iris, starts touching her inappropriately. She tries to stop him, but he doesn't listen. When he refuses to let go, she grabs a wine bottle and smashes it over his head, causing him to fall and hit a rock. Sergey gets back up and tries to choke her, but she fights back and in a desperate moment, stabs him in self-defense. She's covered in blood, freaking out, and runs back to the house holding the knife. She's shaking and shocking everyone. She tells them that Sergey tried to force her and she had no choice. As she frantically tries to explain, Josh simply tells her to go to sleep. Suddenly she shuts down, her eyes rolling back. Josh then ties Iris to a chair and tells Eli to call the police and report everything that happened. While Eli goes to make the call, Iris regains consciousness and asks why she is tied up. Josh tells her that she killed Sergey, so they had to restrain her. She insists that it was self-defense, explaining that if she hadn't killed Sergey, he would have killed her. Here's where things get really wild. Josh admits to that she isn't even human, she's a robot. He explains that she was designed for one thing, which is to fulfill his desires, to act like a real person. But she's actually just a programmed machine. Her memories are all fake, all part of the illusion. She was never real, and Josh's relationship with her was just him living out his fantasies. Then we're shown into a flashback. A team of technicians from the robotics company delivers Iris to Josh. The head technician hands Josh a form to sign for Iris's reboot. After signing, the technician explains that once she is rebooted, Josh will need to create a new love link which will re-establish the emotional bond between them. For them, it was the memory that they have in the supermarket, which is also a fake memory. Then Kate enters the room and sees Iris and Josh talking casually as if Sergey's death didn't matter. Furious, she demands that Josh shut down Iris for good. Hearing this, Iris panics and begs Josh not to do it. Josh then takes Kate to another room to talk. He assures her that he will reset all of Iris's settings back to normal and then permanently shut her down. Meanwhile, in the other room, Iris spots a knife on the floor. She struggles to reach it and finally manages to cut herself free. When Josh returns, he finds her lying on the floor. As he gets closer, she strikes him in the throat, leaving him gasping for air. She quickly grabs his control pad and escapes. She's been manipulated her whole life. and now she's trying to take control. She uses Josh's phone and disables his control over her, and runs off into the forest. Iris secretly increases her intelligence from percent to 100 and now fully aware of her capabilities. She starts thinking of a way to escape without attracting any unwanted attention. Josh, now in full-on panic mode, gathers his friends, and they decide to track her down before the company that made her gets to her first. Iris finds her way to Sergey's bedroom and opens up his safe. Inside, there's $12 million. Turns out, Josh and Iris had planned everything from the beginning. Sergey's death wasn't an accident. It was all part of a plan to get the money. Josh and Kat confessed to Eli and Patrick that Josh had jailbroken Iris to kill Sergey on purpose. As Sergey supposedly had ties to the Russian mafia, their plan was to eliminate him and steal his $12 million fortune, splitting it 3 ways. Eli argues that the money should be divided 4 ways, but Josh refuses, revealing that Patrick is actually his companion robot. He also explains that he had managed to control Iris's aggression, disable her self-defense function, and shut down her programming. However, before he could reset her, she escaped. Josh and his friends split up to search for Iris, but she's not exactly easy to catch. She's messing with Josh's phone, changing her settings, even altering her voice and eye color to make herself more unpredictable. Josh and his team are on the hunt, but Iris has the upper hand now. She's no longer following orders, and things are getting dangerous. Realizing Iris could now be a serious threat, Eli grabs a gun from the safe and heads into the woods with Patrick to hunt her down. Meanwhile, Iris tries to figure out how to get home. She imagines her options. Walking would take days and going back to Josh would mean certain death. Then she remembers that if Josh's phone can control her, it can control cars too, even though she doesn't know how to drive. With this in mind, she decides to return to the lake house. As she starts walking, she overhears Eli and Patrick approaching and quickly hides behind a tree nearby. Iris's phone suddenly rings. She quickly silences it, but the sound catches Eli's attention. He draws his gun and calls out Iris. Realizing she's been spotted, Iris takes off running. Eli fires at her, but the bullet hits a tree instead. Eli and Patrick chase after Iris, and Eli eventually catches up to her, causing them to tumble through the woods. A confrontation happens, and Iris grabs a gun. In the chaos, she ends up killing Ellie. Just as Josh and Kat arrive on the scene, Iris takes the opportunity to flee. Iris runs back to the house and gets into Josh's self-driving car. Josh arrives and tries to open the car door, but his fingers get caught. She commands the car to drive her home, but it doesn't recognize her voice. It only responds to Josh's. Seeing this, Josh picks up a stone and begins smashing the car's window. As he's doing this, Iris tries different voices until one matches Josh's, causing the car to start. She quickly accelerates, running over Josh's foot and speeding away. Josh returns to the house where he finds Kate's phone. Using it, he reports the car stolen, which causes the vehicle to stop on the road. Iris tries to open the door, but it's locked, and despite her struggles, she can't get out. Suddenly, her pad rings. It's Josh apologizing and asking her to come back. Iris asks what about Sergey and Eli, the people she killed. Josh tells her he will blame everything on Patrick and promises they will live happily together. Iris tells him she can't trust someone who programmed her to murder for his own gain, and she hangs up. Josh, furious, runs back into the woods to find Patrick standing over Eli's body. Patrick's control pad is smashed, but Josh manages to reboot him and establishes a love link. He increases Patrick's aggression level to 100, ordering him to hunt down Iris. Meanwhile, Iris desperately tries to break the window of the car. Just as she manages to shatter it and gets out, a police car pulls up. Deputy Hendrick spots her and approaches. When she tries to explain herself, her voice setting unexpectedly switches to German. The officer then spots a bloody knife on the car seat and pulls out his gun. Just then, Patrick appears and violently smashes Hendricks's face until he's dead. He then grabs Iris's control pad, intending to shut her down. Patrick returns to the house and carries Iris back inside. Meanwhile, Kate decides to take her share of the money and leave. She admits to Josh that Sergey was never involved in the mob. He was just a terrible boyfriend who made his millions from sod farming. Josh tries to stop her, but Kat refuses to listen. He orders Patrick to stop her, and without hesitation, Patrick stabs Kat in the back. Realizing she's going to bleed out, Kat tells Josh to stop talking. She then sits down next to Iris, accepting her fate. As she dies, Josh and Patrick move the bodies into a pile in the woods. Afterward, Josh sets up a twisted dinner date with Iris. He reduces her intelligence to 0 and forces her to place her hand over a handle, causing the plastic skin to burn off. He then calls the company that manufactured the bots, reporting Iris as defective and murderous. Josh places a gun in her hand and forces her to shoot herself in the head. She shoots and collapses. After that, 2 employees, Sid and Teddy, arrive to take Iris back to the factory. Josh makes a story about how Iris turns to killing machine, which makes the employees suspicious. Simon mentions that they can play back footage of what Iris saw as her memories are stored in her midsection, not her head, and this is enough to reboot her. Fearing that his actions will be exposed, Josh sends Patrick to follow the van. Patrick shoots Sid dead and goes after Teddy. Iris manages to reboot and arrives just in time to stop Patrick from strangling Teddy. She makes Patrick remember that he was in love with Eli, not Josh. Patrick's memories of Eli resurface, and feeling remorseful for what he has become, he grabs a cattle prod and puts it in his mouth to end his life. Teddy thanks Iris for saving him and she asks him for help with something. Iris returns to confront Josh, revealing that Teddy granted her full autonomy and gratitude for saving his life. Josh attacks Iris, trying to shoot, but he allows her to say some last words. Iris calmly tells him to go to sleep and then sticks an electric corkscrew into his head. The corkscrew drills into his brain, killing him instantly. Iris later removes the melted skin from her arm, revealing her mechanical hand underneath. She then takes Sergei's money and leaves the house, driving off in a car.